What is going on, RotoGrinders? 2 hours, 2+ hours, nonstop MLB DFS conversation starts right now. The back half of the Wednesday doubleheader. 8 games on FanDuel, 9 games on DK. DK's including the back half of that St. Louis-Cincinnati doubleheader. Completely thrown off out of nowhere because I prepared this show as if I was working with Tasteful Tides Tim and Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, by God, that's Kirkwood's music. Comes out of nowhere, and he was supposed to be at crunch time. They just did a little Freaky Friday. They flipped. You'll get Tim. I know chat's excited about Tim. You'll get Tim for crunch time as well as STL cards and chief mineralogist Kevin Roth. But Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, you jumped on it. You just knocked on the door. It's like, oh, you want to switch? Okay. The message I got is that Tim wants no part of me. I was, he's
you know what? I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty clear and obvious.
That's the impression. I thought me and Tim had a good relationship, but now it needs to be reevaluated. I suppose. I don't know.
So what a bonehead I am. So I literally thought I was on the early show, and I jumped right in, and then I was like, oh, Tim's on the show too. I must be looking at the long. I'm going crazy. I have a lot on my plate, so I must be like looking at the wrong month and like doing it quickly. But it is all good. Juggalo Nation's in shambles. That maybe they weren't even going to show up, and now
I don't think they're showing up either way, but we'll see. Maybe they'll show up in an hour or so for crunch time. They're going to be all thrown off and going to have to rewind, I suppose. It is a Wednesday. Are you sweating the early slate? I did not play it. I was busy doing stuff, but
I did not play. Real busy. Yeah. Real busy doing stuff.
Yeah. So, by the way, are you aware? Have you heard about this? Not to speculate right at the top. Are you aware of a thumbnail jinx? Are you aware that that's a thing?
Yeah, and I was going to speak to it.
Oh, all right. Well, yesterday, Marcell Ozuna in course was the thumbnail. What did he do yesterday? You remember?
No. Yeah, let me tell you something.
Yesterday wasn't Ozuna. Yesterday was Bregman, and Bregman led off the game with a home run.
Let me take the reins here, Dean.
There's no thumbnail. No. I'm going.
No. Let me tell you something, Steve. Let me tell you something.
There's no thumbnail curse.
You don't have the cards here. You're not holding the cards here. I got the cards.
Drop a poll and ask the chat. There's a thumbnail curse.
So the thumbnail on Ozuna, Steve is such a mush that the stank took 2 games on him. So last night I entered the Gold Glove with at a whim's notice, and I had the Texas stack 4 with 4 Texas, 4 Braves. I'm talking about I had Leone Taveras, who's 1% O's. I got ceiling games from all of them, and then Ozuna, bonehead Steve, he just couldn't wipe the stink. Couldn't wipe the stink off the thumbnail jinx.
When I put him on the cover, he actually scored 9 points that game. So that's not a 0. And then yesterday was Bregman, and he went absolutely off. He went 3 for 5 with the home run.
I know.
So,
and the whole world started going.
There's no thumbnail curse.
I was trying to figure out, was that Dalton Varsho? Who was the thumbnail?
Today's cover is Bo Bichette.
Or Bichette. I couldn't. Yeah, but he looks different because his hair is different. But yeah, I couldn't quite figure out who that was. But that is today's thumbnail. Let's settle it with the chat. The chat is the voice of reason, as always. Maybe giving them a poll. Is there a thumbnail? Is there a thumbnail jinx? Yes, no, or
I'm not giving them that poll.
Well, you don't think they're going to answer honestly?
No,
not a big enough sample. Yes, no, the sample's too small.
It's Steve's way or the highway, apparently.
Sample's too small.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, when you control the buttons, that's Steve's got the power. All right, so yeah, we're dropping the back half of the doubleheader on FanDuel with St. Louis and Cincinnati. No team today has a team total above 5. There's not any amazing weather spot as well. The best thing we have as far as offenses is probably the Yankees taking on the Orioles. Carrasco versus Povich, 2 good offenses, 2 bad pitchers. We have some 4K pitchers. Chase Petty is a person who's going to be throwing some baseballs today against St. Louis. Also, Lucas Giolito, who I don't think has thrown a baseball yet professionally for Boston. Am I correct in that? I feel like they signed.
He's coming.
I don't think he has.
He's coming. He's back. He's
back.
Tommy John and
Eric Lauer. Remember him? He's back. I guess he was in the KBO. He's expected to be the long man for Toronto.
I'd rather roster Eric Johnson than Eric Lauer.
He had a cup of coffee in the KBO. Waddell is the long man expected for the Mets. He apparently was a KBO guy as well. There are some names. There are some names on this slate. This is the first time, I feel like one of the first times this year we've got the old 4K pitcher, and you can do whatever you want as far as your sticks. But like this pitching is not that expensive, and I find that you can still make pretty good lineups and get the best of the pitchers that are available. So I don't know how much I need them. Curious to get your thoughts as far as an overview. We have. Oh, you know what? The Cubs do have a team total above 5. They do have a team total above 5. So that's the one team, just barely. They're locked in for 9. Tough spot. At least tough ballpark. I shouldn't say tough spot because we're not afraid of Carmen Majinski. He does not scare us. Cubs, one of the best offenses in baseball. Of course, the ballpark is not great, but you got 9 innings versus Majinski. Certainly, they are in play. I think Tucker, one of the best plays. Before the car flipped over. I'm curious your thoughts. All the lineups are out the way except Milwaukee and the Athletics, unless one just dropped on the show. So we pretty much got them all. There's the A's right there. So we're just waiting for Milwaukee, unless I missed them. A's, Butler, Wilson, Soderstrom, Rooker, Langoliers, Kurtz, Urias, Blade down in the 8 hole, and then Urshela. Blade, interesting. Against the righty, they're bearing him. It's been not the best season so far for him so maybe they're trying to ignite the power there. Give me the overview. Give me the screenshot because it's a weird one. It's a weird slate today.
Yeah, so you kind of made it sound like there wasn't any offense tonight at your first glance because of the total. But there is some good offense. I mean, the Red Sox, Blue Jays, both against suspect pitching. One most likely a bullpen game, and Giolito, how long is he going to go, and who knows what he's going to look like. And the Red Sox are humming after yesterday. So are the Yankees, obviously, which you did mention, in that game with Baltimore. So both sides of that in play. The Cubs, like you said, I mean, they're playing the Pirates. Then we also have the Brewers facing the White Sox. And then Tampa's ballpark against someone's supposed to be a pretty decent. Noah Cameron's supposed to be pretty good. But, it's the very beginning for him. So we'll see how he may fall apart. We don't know. So especially in that ballpark, if the ball's flying. And then the A's in Texas, and Texas went nuclear yesterday. A's have a bunch of power bats. The pitching's pretty good. I obviously I side with the Texas side. I like Eovaldi as a pitcher because pitching we don't have much, but we do have like a couple of guys that you feel like pretty confident in on this slate at least, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst. I didn't make it seem like there's no offense. But it's like 5 is kind of like the measuring stick. I know you're not team totals only mean so much, but obviously it's a pretty good indicator if you know nothing else. It's just like, well, how many team totals are above 5? And we have just one. And there's a couple that are close. There are a couple that are hovering. And also weather-wise, nothing spectacular as well. I did drop Kevin Roth's weather report there in chat. If you look at Weather Edge, there's nothing really green at all. Nothing really to get excited about. Nothing miserable, really. It's not, 40 degrees as it was to start the season at most places. But there's really no place that's popping either. I did the thing with Cameron. You mentioned Noah Cameron. Is he the one that only threw? Yeah, he only threw 2 innings his last start. 4 innings before that. And like you said, that ballpark. I know he's 4K, and you can always. I love a 4K pitcher just because it really opens things up. If you need it, I don't know how much we need it, and I don't know how deep he's going to go because 2 innings last time out, 4 innings before that.
Yeah, he's not going to go very deep.
But the thing is, the pitch count is projected pretty good for him, which I thought was, I imagine somebody else put more thought into that than I did, but I was surprised to see his pitch count at 80. I think the bat had him at 75 for what it's worth as far as the median projection. But yeah, I don't know how much we'll need that. I don't know. And if I'm going to roster one of these cheap guys, I would take what's the other dude's name that I can't think of his name now? The person I just heard of today, Chase Petty. Just whatever. I guess Chase Petty.
What a name! That sounds like a great name. Great NASCAR name.
Yeah, that's what I thought. How is this guy? And I did actually check. I was like, is this guy related to the Petties? And And you know how NASCAR is.
You know what his official nickname is?
I'm sure you're going to tell me. You're going to make one up.
NASCAR.
Officially, Petty is a 4K, not 4K, 6'6". So, yeah, I shouldn't even say he's one of those 4K cheapies because he's not. And this is more of a DK conversation than a FanDuel conversation. FanDuel, you get one pitcher only. You really can't miss. And there's a lot of cheap nonsense, right? You know, and a lot of openers, a lot of guys that are just bad, like Carrasco and Povich. We expect Lauer to be a long man, and I can't imagine that's going to go well. Giolito's priced at 7.5 his first start. We have whatever's left of Corbin Burns. It's just, you know, it's not looking great. Arizona probably already, you know, regretting that long-term deal they signed for him. Rasmussen's been awesome. The best pitcher on the slate.
He's awesome. He is awesome.
But problem is they won't let him pitch beyond 5 innings, and they won't let him throw 85 pitches. At least they haven't so far. You know, you're not going to get the QS in FanDuel most likely unless the efficiency is insane. But, you know, he still could be the top pitcher in this slate because who else can it be? I guess it could be Eovaldi, a guy that occasionally will drop the CGSO. Like, he's a guy who can go deep. Tough matchup there against Oakland. Damn it, I did it again. Against Sacramento. You know, it can go both ways, though. You know, they can strike out a ton. They can hit a fair bit of homers. They can do both things. I got kind of I don't want to say a sneaky one, but I think the one that I want to talk about, I'll put in my back pocket before I throw it to you. Sanchez has probably been the most popular one for Philadelphia. He's been very good this year too as well.
He's filthy. He's great.
He's got good stuff.
Yeah, he's been great.
Biggest K rate on the slate, 29.5% this season, and the ground balls, just a ton of ground balls and a lot of strikeouts, not a lot of barrels. I mean, he's given up.
You see his swinging strike rate?
15.1%. I see it.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
It's not fraudulent, the Ks. The Ks are not fraudulent. At least they're not nearly going. Small sample stuff. And he's getting, like, unlucky because there's so few fly balls. 22.2% of those balls are going over the fence. That's likely to come down. His Sierra is actually 2.8. His ERA is 3.42. His BABIP 3.38. So as good as he's been unlucky. So I think he's the starting point on this slate. It sounds like you agree.
Yeah, he's the clear one. Washington has been pretty bad against left-handed pitching so far. Crazy small sample, obviously, at this point in the season. However, kind of like enough for us to make a judgment, just like on Steve's thumbnails. You know, we have enough to make some judgments here. So, yeah, so it's a good matchup. It's not the highest strikeout matchup, but they've struck out about 23% around there so far against lefties. He's got filthy stuff, as we said. Let me check. He's also the Nationals' like best hitters, obviously, are Abrams and Wood, right? The ones that scare you. Maybe Lowe he's not the greatest hitter, but at least he's got power. So when he does hit,
Cruz is getting there. He's not there just yet, but he's going to be there soon at some point.
So that's the bottom half. But so it's their best hitters are lefties, so that's perfect for the lefty. So it's for Sanchez. So Sanchez is the clear number one for me. Eovaldi is right up there with him against Eric Johnson's A's. I feel less. I feel less safe with Eovaldi, but safe enough. And then there's like if I'm going below, it's Rasmussen. But you know, like you're probably gonna get 80 pitches around there. But he's got filthy stuff. I throw out Corbin Burns because I don't want to mess with Steve's Mets.
No,
who are
he's just not striking anybody out. But last game he had 8 Ks and good for him.
The Mets are playing phenomenally. And Soto's not even like hitting yet, like, you know.
And that'll happen.
Yeah.
That'll happen soon enough. That's my pitching pool, basically. It's going to be Sanchez, Eovaldi, Rasmussen, and the fourth guy. And I'm not ruling out the potential of rostering, you know, one of these cheaper pitchers. But the one that I think it's kind of, I don't want to say sneaky per se, because he's getting ownership.
Irvin?
No. So Sanchez getting 40% on DK, Eovaldi 30, Rasmussen 20, Myers 17. But Matthew Boyd
He's
did
good.
you talk about Matthew Boyd? If you did, I missed it.
No, but he's right there. He was like the next guy that I would have said.
So Matthew Boyd, he's had 5 starts this year. You want to know the teams he's played against? You ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Arizona.
guess
Okay, you want to? Not just the Dodgers, but the Dodgers twice. 2 times Dodgers, Arizona, and 2 times San Diego.
Yeah,
Like he hasn't had a cupcake matchup yet, and he's answered the bell pretty much every time. Like at least being competent. And now he has the Pirates in Pittsburgh.
yeah, and that matchup stuff is a full explanation for his K rate being about 20%, right around there right now. So I would give him. I think he does have strikeout stuff. So I give him a bump, and it's you lefties against the Pirates are a thing. And the Pirates, actually, any pitcher against the Pirates are a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna just pitchers. You throw baseballs for a living, you're good against the Pirates.
Yeah.
Last season, the sample wasn't huge, but 27.7% for Boyd as far as Ks, right? And you kind of alluded to it, like the Ks this year are not as high, but again, it is that matchup. This season, 19.5%, but I think he will end the season higher than that. I feel really, really confident saying that. It's going to be higher than 19.5%. And I think it starts today. And you mentioned Pittsburgh, right? Obviously, they're better hitters right at the top, but they're more strikeout prevalent guys are at the top as well. O'Neal Cruz, we know the power, the speed, the tools, electric. You would say, do you say electric? What's the adjective you always use? Is it electric? I think
You know what? You know what's funny is that I brought electric to RotoGrinders. Everybody's saying it. No. I instilled this in people.
You invented the word?
No, I did not invent the word. I invented saying it all the time on RotoGrinders, and then other people started saying it. Chop. It all started with David Montgomery, and I called him electric. That David Montgomery is electric.
This is that's hot.
No, he's electric. Everybody was wrong because their best ball hated him. Oh, his sprint speed is this. Like they don't understand. Like it's the same thing in football. I could go forever, but like he's always been a good running back. He was in a horrible situation with a horrible offensive line and a horrible quarterback. Like that's the same thing. Like Todd Gurley, the same thing. Everyone thought he was bad. So long story short, I brought electric. I'm claiming that. I also claimed you're a
trendsetter.
The fresh haircut narrative. Yours truly, fresh haircut narrative.
Supercuts.
Yeah, that it's evolved to supercuts play of the days now, But
are you due for how fresh is that cut that we're looking at right now?
It's today. It's horrible.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Do you have an appointment, or you just gotta walk in?
No, so I had to drop my kid goes to group play. From 9:30 to noon. So it's the only time all week I get I have 2.5 hours to get, and I'm going to Mexico in the morning for a cousin's wedding. Not my nephew's wedding.
Nice.
So I had to get a cut, and I went right in, walk right in, serve you right away. They always ask you, do you have an appointment? And I laugh every time because I'm like,
this is super
no,
right?
No, I don't. But can I get a haircut? Yes. Everybody in there had no one in front of them getting their haircut.
Yeah.
Do you have an appointment?
You first available, right? You don't you locked in on a person. You a
I'm not locked in. If I saw, I've had a different person I've had one person twice.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 other people.
You ever get a bad haircut and then they're up next to their rotation and you want to avoid them, but you don't want to be rude, so you just
I don't look. I go in there with I don't want to look. When I'm getting my haircut, I look down and I close my eyes the whole time. I don't want to look because then you get upset and you also I only go there. It's because I've fully given up. But you want to take a shower. You got to take a shower to get the real scene. Afterwards.
I don't get the hot shave. The hot shave on the back of the neck is
No, I'm saying I go home
feeling.
and shower. I'm saying I go home and shower.
Oh, but
right after, and that's when you hope that it's manageable, the haircut. But
do supercuts offer the hot shower, the hot shave in the back?
No,
of the neck?
she offered me it. I didn't want it. Do I want a shampoo? I said no, thank you.
No shampoo. Just they don't offer. They just do it. The
craziest. I used to get my haircut in this Latino barbershop, in Boston, for the longest time, and the worst thing that happened one time. We have plenty of time in this show. We're not missing anything. It's like so uncleanly. It's not very clean, right? Like that's not the thing you do. And the guy pulls out a nose hair trimmer and just tries to shove it up my nose. And I was like, whoa, and I had to put the stop down on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would appreciate it personally. Like you see something going on there, and well, knock it out. That's okay. I feel rude asking for it, but if you're going to take the initiative, like they do the eyebrows. So my eyebrows.
You ever get an ear hair? Do you ever get one of those ear hairs?
I don't think so. I mean, if I
Anybody in chat get an ear hair and just you pull it, and it's incredible how long the thing is, and you never noticed it, and it unravels to like, you know.
Who is the ear hair play of the day? Did you have one of those in the holster? Any other pitchers we want to talk about? Any other pitchers we want to acknowledge? I saw some people in chat talking about. Who did I see that was mentioned in chat that they were lukewarm about, at least? Tobias Myers. He's throwing baseballs against the White Sox. So are we excited about that?
It's the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
He went 4 innings in his start against San Francisco, 82 pitches, which is good. He is just kind of meh. He's okay. I think this start this slate and this start, he's someone you could definitely play.
Is that enough? Is it enough to be meh against the White Sox on this slate?
Yeah, I think it is, but we'll see. They've been heating up a little bit. Benintendi's on fire.
You guys miss him there in Boston, obviously. Yeah, we have every lineup, by the way, with the exception of Milwaukee. No Milwaukee, and it is kind of a sprint slate. We're starting early. That's why we're on early. 6:40 is the start of the slate. The last game, first pitch, is Texas at 8:05. So we got a sprint one going on. You can watch some baseball. You can watch some hockey. We got some basketball as well. Potential elimination game for the Lakers tonight, but it's a potential elimination game for the Lightning, where the Panthers potentially move on.
What do we do with the Lakers game?
I mean, they're not losing this game, right?
I mean, the refs are gonna try their damn hardest to make sure that.
I mean, look, the NBA probably wouldn't be upset if the Lakers moved on. I would agree with that, sure.
I don't think they're moving on. I just think at
least get us a game 7.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Edwards is that star, so I think the NBA isn't missing that much.
I'm not as high. I'm not as high on him as everybody else. I mean, it's not a besmirch. I'm just not as high as everybody else.
You know what some people say, Dean? They say Dean doesn't know ball. Dean doesn't know ball. That's what people say.
Again, that wasn't a knock. I still think he's great. I think he's got, he can get there still. But I'm not as high. I'm just not as high on him as everybody else is. And that's all. But he's awesome. He's awesome. He's a lot of fun. And I think the league is frightened of him because he does not care. I was going to say something else. But he does not. I
mean, that was pretty. No, I can't comment on this.
He just does what he does, and he's interesting. I think the league is afraid a little bit. I'm sure you saw that clip of him, talking smack to somebody in the front row the other day. Yeah, it just.
Yeah, you know what? I liked it. I liked it.
I'm not mad at him. I'm just,
these guys get harassed. I mean, they get paid millions of dollars, so it doesn't matter. But they get harassed.
Oh no, for sure. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I understand. And we'll talk about it. Speaking of such things, speaking about getting confronted, that we may discuss that in tiers in a second. Anybody else we want to acknowledge as far as pitchers? Or our pool's pretty tight, right? How many laps you got to make to consider Noah Cameron, if any? Like he's not in your pool.
Yeah, he's probably not in my pool. But I mean, what do you get with him? Let's just.
You get Aaron Judge, and then you get Aaron Judge and Tucker. You can get both those guys pretty easily.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? But then everybody that's rostering him, right? That's what they're doing. So a lot of those lineups will look kind of similar if you want to play that angle.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you can just do like the Tisa Machado. That's no, they're not on the slate. That would be really contrarian if you can find them in the player pool. there are other ways to be. De La Cruz probably not going to be as popular. Is a big spend. Certainly you can roster him, obviously, but you can always roster him. But yeah, you're just getting 2 or 3 big bats, and that's what you're banking on. You can get a Met stack pretty easy. You can do whatever you want. The world is your oyster, as they say. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do all those things. Hit all those buttons. We much appreciate it. We got to get the what kind of gimmicks do you have prepared for us, Kirkwood, as far as homers and things of that sort? The supercuts play of the day, the nose hair, something. What do you got for the people?
It's got to come organic or else it feels fake. So I don't have anything.
You are authentic.
Yeah, it's got to be authentic. So it'll come to me. I'll have some. It's not going to be a tiny hands play of the day today.
Oh yeah, why not? Why no tiny hands?
No tiny hands.
Oh, that's what the people like.
It's a basketball. It's a basketball thing.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, let's. Somebody that's tuned in, let's give them like the 30-second, 1-minute recap as far as pitchers, and then we'll talk about some tiers.
Your pool is this. If you don't want to get too crazy, like if you, it's not. None of it is too crazy. The ownership on Sanchez is going to be high, but as you saw last night, what won tournaments? It was still DeGrom and Miller who won tournaments. It's like there are good plays in baseball and good pitching plays that are, pitching plays are kind of like NBA plays for the most part. Usually, good pitchers.
A little bit more predictable. The arm's more predictable than the bat. More events.
Definitely, for sure. So anyway, Christopher Sanchez is the guy, number one. Anthony Eovaldi is that's like you feel the most comfortable starting together. But if you don't want to do it, Matt Boyd is certainly fine. We both agree that he does have case stuff. He's had really tough matchups, and now he gets a cupcake matchup against Pitt. And so he like him a lot, like Rasmussen, although you're probably going to get 80 pitches. But on tonight's slate, that's with his filthy stuff, that could be more than enough. And I'd stop right there, but you can play Tobias Myers. You could even play Severino. And if you really want to, really want to go down and try to get all the bats, Noah Cameron would be the guy. He's a better 4K pitcher, should be, than Carmen Wadzinski or Brzobin or a lot of these guys. You can't really play them, but you can get away with Noah Cameron, I think.
I'm a little hesitant as far as
probably doesn't work. The race probably
that ballpark's tough too.
Yeah, tough ballpark, good weather.
By the way, shout out to Miller last night. I'm not sure if you were watching the game or if you were aware, but his back flared up on him before the game, and they had Raleigh got hurt. They had Moore getting hurt. They had 2 injuries before the game started. One in the IL. Of course, they have Kirby and Logan Gilbert already hurt. Miller, his back flared up. He didn't sit down. He didn't sit down in the game. He didn't sit down in the dugout, and he just gutted through it. I don't know if you saw. He had like 6 walks. They took him out kind of early. I think he got 5 innings out of him. He got enough to work, but he there was a chance like he was going to step down, I think. So he gutted it out. So I don't know if you had him on your lineups, but he helped me out a fair bit. I think we were winning the $25 late until that Dodger shenanigans. Pajes homer off like the shortstop.
I mean, I can't believe the freaking Ozuna did me like that, and just the Braves in general. They just every team was just lighting it up. Like you had the Red Sox, or at the beginning of the slate, you thought you binked the slate, right? It was like you're like, oh, they broke the slate.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dodgers were in the the late night hammer. There was just home runs everywhere. Good weather, home runs everywhere.
Shortstop for Seattle banged out a couple. He should have had a third. It just missed. It's just that ballpark robbed him of a third homer. But all right, let's do it. Let's talk about today's tiers. You don't know about today's tier category. By the way, we just got Milwaukee. Bowers is in. Collins is out. So they're running out. Both their first basemen are in. Bowers is in, as is Rhys Hoskins. Otherwise, that Milwaukee lineup is as predicted. Today's tier category, chat, let me know. This is a little bit different. It's kind of an homage to, I don't know, we might see Giannis leave Milwaukee, and I wouldn't blame him if he does. I love Giannis. Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think, is one of the just awesome athlete, but just seems like a great human. Just a great dude. I don't know if you saw him. They were asking about the incident there with Tyrese Halliburton's dad getting in his face. And it was just an incredible answer. I just think he's an awesome dude. So I'm a big fan. So Kirkwood, today's tier category, you tell me. What is the Greek things? Greek things. I power ranked things that are Greek. What is the best Greek things and what are the worst Greek things? So chat, let me know what you think the best things that are Greek origin, things that Greece gets credit for, yada yada. I don't know if anything comes to mind for you there, Kirkwood, but if you have a thought, chat, let me know as well. We will reveal the board momentarily. I see you're busy chatting.
Greek salad.
Yeah, it's funny. I originally had that in 5, but I modified it.
All right.
I mean, Greek cucumbers and feta. What do we? Come on, get out of town. Who wants that?
Olives, Kalamata olives.
I like
delicious.
A black olive.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Tzatziki. Yeah, there's tzatziki sauce.
I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you. I originally
on a gyro. On a gyro, you never had a gyro?
I have. You will see on the board. I like it without no sticks of sauce. I don't like the sauce.
No, it's tzatziki. That's the whole thing.
I just like things plain. Just give me the meat. Typically.
You love the meat.
I don't. Yeah,
a lot of people say that. You love the meat.
Guy.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah. Why didn't you just say why you're going with the sauce? Why not just say the gyro?
Because the sauce is what makes the gyro.
No. The euro makes the euro. All right. Let's go ahead and reveal the board. Let's see. Greek dressing. Yeah, I don't know what tzatziki is, but maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I'll try it one of these days. But of course, Giannis the Greek freak is number one. They invented the naked Olympics. Of course, you know that. Well, the Olympics, as we know them today, but they're naked back in the day. So the Olympics are pretty cool, right? Those are kind of fun every 4 years. You mentioned the Euro.
Relax a little bit there. You're getting a little too riled up. You're getting a little too riled up at that. Talking about
what do you mean?
The naked Olympics.
Well, they were naked. The original. You're aware of this, right?
Just relax. Olympics.
Because Greco-Roman wrestling was off the chain. The Euro is in the middle. Yogurt is fourth. I mean, yogurt's got a ceiling. No matter how fancy, no matter how enticing the flavor, they
you don't like a nice yogurt parfait?
No, I mean now you're saying parfait. Now that adds a little bit more ceiling to it, but for the most part,
what about frozen yogurt?
No, that doesn't get. The Greeks did not invent frozen yogurt, or just froyo is not Greek. I don't think. I'm pretty sure
they have great olive oil in Greece.
All right, well, fair enough. And then feta. Feta is like, if you're going to power rank cheese, it's one of the worst cheeses available. It's gross.
What?
I consider,
gross.
Apparently, baklava is a dessert that I'm missing out on. I've never heard of it. I've never tried it before.
Crunchy, a little nice flaky crust baklava, I think.
What else was up? Oh, I also consider the theater. They invented theater, so that's something. That almost got some. Yanni, I know you're a big Yanni guy. There's baklava, I think, or is that's a euro?
That's a euro, and that's how it's done right there, man.
Oh, the sour. I don't want any of that.
You just like the meat.
Is that sour cream? Yeah, gross.
No, it's tzatziki sauce.
It's tzatziki
and yogurt. The sauce? No, the white sauce. I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. That's a deal breaker.
Tzatziki.
Dean, do you like olive oil though?
Like as is, so I can take a shot of it. Like,
are you Greek, Steve?
Things with olive oil.
No, I don't seek
it out.
I'm
not Greek. You don't like olive oil? Do you like eggs?
I don't even think of it. I never.
You don't like olive oil? Like you don't
I'll
cook
with it sometimes, but like just to kind of like, so
dip your bread in a nice olive oil with some
I've never done that.
In it and stuff.
I've seen people do it, but I don't understand that. I'm missing out. I'm not sure. But theater did not get any love. Again, you are a big Yanni guy. I'm sorry. I apologize to Yanni. He's of course great.
Is that even right? Who does the pan flute? Remember the pan flute commercial?
You're doing Kenny G, I believe is what you're doing.
Yeah, that's close enough. I think Yanni's kind of like that. Is that true or no?
I mean, he's like I don't think there's a Venn diagram of ICP and Yanni fans. It's like two circles.
I was just going to say we never had a mix at the gathering or anything.
I don't think there's a correlation. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's throw some teams in tiers. First one on the board is the Yankees. The Yankees and the Orioles. Cade Povich taking on Carlos Carrasco. We saw the Yankees yesterday really get loose with the 4 homers in the first inning. everybody homered with the exception of Jazz. Jazz Chisholm got a triple, and on his way to third, he got hurt. He's not playing baseball tonight, so that back half of that lineup is a little bit rougher than it typically is. Where do we have Carrasco, Povich? Both these teams, this is the highest total on the board collectively, 9.5. It is a coin toss, essentially, according to Vegas. Where do we have New York and Baltimore?
I think the Yankees put up 2 touchdowns again.
Oh, okay.
I think the Orioles stink. I think Povich, Cade the Blade, stinks. It's not.
He's the Blade?
It's not the best lineup in the world from the Yanks, but
yeah.
I like Goldie's been hitting. So I like him leading off. Grisham is as always hit left-handed pitching pretty well. Judge, obviously. You got Uncle Ben there sitting there cleanup, and then Volpe, Tony Cutlets is this season hitting much better in a small sample, of course.
He's got that new bat.
Yeah, 40 plate appearances, but a 426 WOBA, 273 ISO. Not bad.
Is Baltimore in Euro for you, or is that what you said? I apologize if you said it, but I know Steve is projecting at least, if nothing else.
There's nothing I like more than this season because Baltimore is sitting in the basement, and I get to remind this kid every single day in the chat about that. And so, and I keep saying that the best stimulus plan is betting against the Orioles every game. And
their pitching's really bad.
And then I keep screenshotting the win afterwards. So I'm going to stick with that. And I don't want to lead people too wrong. I want people to know I'm biased here, obviously. So I'm going to stick them in yogurt because they do have, like, Gunnar Henderson is a good hitter.
Sure.
But put them there in yogurt, but they probably should be higher up the list.
I like Mullins, but 5-6 for Mullins. I know price isn't like a huge thing on this slate necessarily, but I guess that kind of keeps the ownership down too. You can kind of work that angle, but just seems a little bit.
Yeah, where do you guys think Giannis is going to
go? Houston, I think, has the best assets, but we'll see. But they almost have to trade him because they don't control their draft pick for the next 5 years or so, and next season's already dead with Lillard not there, and there's Kuzma there in the books for who is terrible. They really have no chance. The chat saying the Lakers are the Spurs.
I don't know. The Spurs, if you put him, you put him with
you got to give Castle. At least give Castle.
No, if they work something out, I don't know, but
you got to give players out. You got to give up actually something good.
Maybe
you got to give assets up.
But you put Wemby and Giannis together, it's game over.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. What if San Antonio wins the lottery? Would San Antonio trade the number 1 pick for Giannis straight up? No. And the greatest player in the history of basketball, I'm told, Cooper Flagg, is the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to end up being like Gordon Hayward, but
why would you compare him to Gordon Hayward?
It's like they're so comparable.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't watch college basketball, but I think that's probably a disappointment. Not that Hayward was bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
that's kind of disappointing.
I'm lower.
And I don't know if that's a fair comp. That's probably not. You're probably just doing the thing.
I should probably be nicer about it because Andy Means is probably watching, or he'll get word and get it set up. But,
yeah.
I'm
not supposedly he's supposed to be better than that.
Yeah.
We have one game down.
But he's still growing. He's still growing. Yeah. Let's go. Cubbies all the way up top.
Matthew Boyd, we've got to hype him up a little bit. Taking on.
You don't need to overthink the Cubbies all the way at the top.
Okay.
Sorry.
How about the Pirates?
And you don't have to overthink them down in yogurt. If you want to play the Pirates, play O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, and call it a day. And maybe if you need a catcher, Joey Bart. Even though Cutchin's been good.
The Bartman, which says more about the rest of the lineup than the Bartman, if anything. IKF at the bottom, Gorski, Pham, Triolo. It's bad. It's really bad. When Paul Skeens leaves or gets traded, you can't blame the guy because they're not doing anything with him. They're not trying to. They have a window. They're like, nah, we don't want it. We don't want to spend any money. And then they sit around and cry, like, oh, Dodgers. Well, you know what? They're at least trying. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the Cardinals and the
People are
Reds.
saying
Not on
Golden
FanDuel.
State maybe. Could Giannis get to Golden State?
No. How they just committed to like 60 million for the next so many years for Butler, like next 2 or 3 years. How do you make that work?
I don't know. I'm not a front office, so I'm not,
Milwaukee's not trading for Jimmy Butler. They have no interest in Jimmy Butler. He doesn't fit their window. Whatever they're good again. So no. Wait, Kuminga?
He's got a ceiling.
Oh, but you're not trading Kuminga in like the next 3 picks that are probably going to be, especially with Giannis there, not lottery. No chance. You got to be realistic. And I know that for the talk radio stuff, you actually talk about the teams that are, the people care about, I guess. But he's probably, I think Houston and Brooklyn might be the most realistic ones, but probably somebody. I'll tell you what, whatever the haul is, I'll guarantee you this: it's a better haul than Luka got. I guarantee you that. Whatever they get, it's gonna be better than Anthony Davis. Cardinals, Reds.
You're not a big AD? You're not a big AD guy?
Player, but like, come on. He's 32, 31. He's Mr. Glass.
The one who's been overrated for everyone still thinks Kevin Durant is like the make or break.
Durant was awesome. He's like a top.
He was awesome, but he's had so many miles on those legs.
Yeah,
and like
what a weird career. He has many.
He messed it all. He should have stayed with Golden State. He should have just stayed there. And
he could have had a really, there's a lot of what ifs with him. I'm supposed he could have went to Golden State this year, like that, and he shot it down.
Yeah,
before they went up for Jimmy.
He shunned it. Yeah.
Okay, and he's almost definitely leaving too if they can figure a way out. St. Louis, Cincinnati, 9.5 the total. I guess this is similar. This is basically the same as Baltimore and New York. 4.75 is the total on both sides. Essentially a coin toss. Good ballpark. Again, no FanDuel here, but it is DK. DK only. Steven Matz taking on Chase Petty. The back half of the doubleheader. Would you believe that Wynn hit 2 homers in the first game? Who actually, I think he flashed some power in spring training, but he's not known for the stick, more the wheels. And as a reward, he's batting second. No Arenado in this lineup. He's resting on the back half of the doubleheader. But or was that Victor Scott? I can't remember which one of their speed guys that had a lot of homers in spring training, but definitely win it too early for what it's worth. Petty, we don't know what he is. Matz is just kind of, innings eater / journeyman. Where are we putting the Cards and the Reds?
Yeah, I mean, he's been pitching out of the bullpen, Matz, right? Been like a long reliever.
Let me confirm that. I'm not sure. A couple of times, yes, correct. Yeah. Not even a long reliever. I guess on his off day or something. On the 26th, he threw 2/3 of an inning. On the 22nd, 2 2/3, 5 innings versus Houston. He's been good, but just, they haven't really fully unleashed him outside of that one start versus Houston where he only went 5 innings.
I like
71 pitches.
I like
But you're not rostered Matz. You can't pay Matz.
No, but you can certainly play bats against him, and I like both sides of this game. I think it's gonna be a lot of bullpen arms, and hopefully you get to a couple of them and just in that ballpark. Great ballpark. Not the best weather, but so give me the Reds up in Olympics.
Okay.
And give me St. Louis and Euro. Or not, maybe put them both in Olympics. I'm fine with both of them.
Okay. We got the Nats in Philadelphia, 8 total. Jake Irvin taking on Christopher Sanchez. We like Sanchez a good bit. 2 of the better hitters on Washington, left on left there versus Sanchez. And the better hitters for Philadelphia had the platoon against Jake Irvin. That is Harper. That is Schwarber. Stott leading off. How do we feel about Philly and the Nats?
Well, I love Sanchez. Sanchez just doesn't give up a lot. Like we went over through it. If you look up his ground ball rate, 55%. You go to last season. Check out his 57% ground balls last year, 3.5 Sierra last year. Good swinging strike rate last year, 28% call strike whiff. I've liked this stuff always, and I've always thought he was underrated, and it's nice to see him getting a little bit doing even better so far this season. So now he's getting some recognition, but I don't want to go against him. I do like the ballpark a little bit, but I'm fine. Jake Irvin is actually pretty decent too. at least so
He's
far.
not horrendous. Not horrendous.
So it would be the Phillies would be the side, but they feel that they just always. I mean, I'll put the Phillies because of the home run upside and getting into the bullpen, but they'll probably let you down. But I'll put them in Olympics, and I'll put Washington down on the bottom.
All right, Kansas City, Tampa, Drew Rasmussen. We like his stuff as well. The only hiccup with him is that how deep is he going to go? He has not thrown more than 85 pitches. He has not thrown. He has not had a quality start just yet. I think he gave him 5 1/3. He's gone 5 1/3 this year. It is hot in Tampa, by the way. For what it's worth, I think that's probably the best hitting environment today. Although 7.5 total. Of course, Tampa's a -166 favorite. We're seeing the debut of Noah Cameron, who was pretty good in the minors. He's not some kind of crazy prospect. He's taken the spot of Cole Reagans, I believe. But I do like the idea. If I'm making 4 or 5 lineups, you never know what you're going to get out of somebody making their debut. It can be shaky out there, and that ballpark and that heat. I think Tampa is going to be one of my 4 or 5 top stacks on the slate. What say you? Tampa Bay and Kansas City.
Who's one of your top stacks?
Tampa.
Yeah, I like them, but
just play the what if. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean they're pretty cheap too. Morel is batting third. I keep recommending Caminero. The dude just he rakes. Brandon Lowe's hasn't been so good. So, but it's nice to see him in there against the lefty because you can feel safe about getting all your at bats with him. Yeah, I'll put Tampa in the Olympics because of the ballpark and Noah Cameron.
Tampa in the Olympics. I'm sorry, where did you put Kansas City?
Not high at all. If you did it, it would be. No, it's not even that level. He's like the third or fourth. Away from outside of KC. It's just like if I want to play KC, it's going to be like Bobby Witt and like Pert and Salvi, and that's it. But yeah, right there, yogurt is there. It's fine. Nice yogurt parfait for you, Dean.
I thought you were a Vinny P guy. You're not a Vinny P guy? He's been scuffling this year.
I told you I always land on Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day, which is the worst day. So he's not home run today.
Perez, by the way, if you look at like the advanced stuff, like he is smashing baseballs this year. If you look at like batted ball, barrels per batted ball event, he's like what's top 5 or so last I looked. Hard hit stuff. Of course, he's not going to get you anything beyond nothing in the base pass as far as stolen bases and things of that sort. But he can bang out a couple. Wouldn't be shocking. 15 minutes or so, we got crunch time coming in. You got STL Cards as well as Tasteful Tides Tim, who was late swapped to crunch time. You get cheap interologist Kevin Roth as well. Do want to mention RG Combo Pro. We've been talking about baseball. If you want to get the Combo Pro baseball for the entire season, the annual option's $425. However, if you're talking about some baseball DFS, you probably dabble in the other streets. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. It's all the same price. The combo price is mirrored the same price as baseball, so you might as well get more sports for the same exact price. You commit to multiple months, 6 months commitment gets you 35% off. Again, it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, LOL. Did I miss anything? No NASCAR. NASCAR is a la carte. You get the projections, you get the bells, you get the whistles, you get the optimizer, you get Plate IQ, you get Lineup HQ, you get Cheese's article. Today you would have got STL Cards' article. Cheese, he said that Cards alluded to it in the article. Cheese had a milestone birthday today, so I don't want to speculate, but I'm guessing what he might be turning. I don't know, but shout out to Dave.
Or 40.
I was gonna say 30. You're saying 40?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, I was gonna say 30, but maybe I'm wrong.
At 30, Dave had a full head of hair. Believe it or not, Dave had a full head of hair at 30. Did you know him back then?
I did not. No, I did not. I did not. Yeah, I'm sure there's photos out there. I would imagine. So I've not done the Google. I've listened to his music, but I've never got a visual with it. Actually, no, he's on the YouTube. Last I saw when I did a search. Check out Dave's music. It's good. If you like folk music, I suppose. If you're a Yanni guy, if you're a big Yanni guy, there might be some crossover. If you're an ICP guy, probably not so much. Also want to shout out the props and pick'em package.
Jesus.
What's that?
Nothing. The way you say that about ICP, we like all
ICP
music.
fans are generally not in the folk music.
No, they like everything. They're open minded.
Props and Pick'em is 50% off as well for your first month if you're in the underdog streets, just like your player props, things of that sort. Prize picks, it'll help you very, very, just give you projections, give you a percentage chance of, hitting that number, going over, going under, based upon what the current number happens to be. It's pretty dummy proof. Do check that out in the description, as well as a link to the description for the Combo Pro. Get yourself 6 months off, again, $4.29 for all the sports. Back to the games. Your Boston Red Sox, we've got 4 games left. Your Boston Red Sox taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Lucas Giolito making his season debut, making his Boston debut. Has not thrown baseballs in a while. He did have some minor league stuff. Yariel Rodriguez is expected to draw the start, kind of as an opener. And then Eric Lauer, who we've not seen in the majors for several years. I guess he had a cup of coffee there in the KBO. He wasn't good. A lot of homers when he was in the major leagues throwing baseballs for San Diego and Milwaukee, I want to say. Feel free to fact check me. But I do like him for Boston because he gives up some homers and I think a fair bit of fly balls, which would check out. I did make my page stretch back to 2020. Yeah, Lauer, 1.64 homers per 9, and also a lot of fly balls. So, yeah, Boston, Toronto, what do you got?
Yeah, so, wait, are they using an opener?
Yes, it's expected to be Yariel Rodriguez.
Yeah.
For an inning or two. Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah, the Sox they rake yesterday. I like the Sox right now. I think they keep the momentum. I like the situation. So, Olympics. And, I mean, Toronto could go off for sure. And the bullpen isn't so hot either behind Giolito. So, yeah, I like I like them in the Olympics as well.
You got Toronto in the Olympics, you got Boston Olympics. Olympics is very, very popular. We have 3 more games, about 10 minutes or so until crunch time comes in. Again, that's Tasteful Tots Tim. You got SDL cards, and you have Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. Alexander is asking for a photo. I don't know if producer Steve can find a photo of Cheese with you said there's back in when he was 25 or 30, in his music days.
Great, really
still
great hair. He had dreads.
I don't think he had.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'll take your word on that. Corbin Burns is taking on, speaking of producer Steve, his Mets. Burns, not kind of what he once was, especially from the K perspective. Tough ballpark. The Mets are hot. We are expecting Brazoban to draw the opener spot here, and then Waddell comes in for the Mets. He's another KBO guy. Nothing terribly impressive there. Tawa is leading off for Arizona, just a little bit different there as far as their lineup. Tawa, Corbin Carroll, Grichuk, Eugenio Suarez, Naylor, Moreno, Gurriel, Barossa, and Garrett Hampson. Where do we have the D-backs? Hampson's terrible. Never play Hampson.
The very end of that lineup is just horrendous. But
yeah,
I mean, I like the prospect of some bases being stolen by Arizona. I hate the ballpark. Yeah. I think they put up some runs here, and they run on the base paths a lot. But man, yeah, that very end. Put them in. I can't just keep putting everyone in Olympics, can I?
You can put them wherever, whatever works for you. It doesn't
put
have
them
to be
in
like
Euro. Let's give Euro a little love.
Yeah. We put any sauce in that Euro, or that's a plain Euro?
It's always coming. It's like would you go to Philly and get a cheesesteak without the cheese?
I don't like the cheese whiz.
Oh my god! Have you ever had it?
I've never had an authentic Philly cheesesteak.
It's unbelievable. I don't
like whiz
cheese
just in
whiz.
general. Like they
I'm
say,
not
with
buying
the
whiz for my home to do anything with it. But like the way they do it, it's magic.
Yeah, I think some use provolone. I'm on board with provolone. I'm good with that. But the whiz, no, I'm out. That's not for me. Okay, 2 more games. It's Milwaukee and the White Sox. Shane Smith who's been pretty lucky, by the way. I was kind of digging into his stuff. Very lucky as far as like his home run the fly ball. I think it actually shows as far as the difference between his Sierra and his ERA. Let's see. Shane Smith, 4.17 Sierra, 2.3 ERA, 3.4% homer to fly ball. That's going to change. A 219 BABIP. He's been very lucky. Very fortunate that the balls are not going over the fence and the balls are getting hit right to his fielders. I feel like, we talk about the regression monster. The regression monster, I think, is knocking on the door of Shane Smith. Well, come on. Will the regression monster make an appearance tonight? I don't know. Can't tell you that. But eventually the regression monster always gets you. Tobias Myers on the other side, taking on the terrible White Sox. By the way, this game's in the 50s as well. So not necessarily the best weather either for these offenses. Brew Crew, White Sox, what do you got?
I hate to say it though, but Shane Smith has like the full arsenal of exactly what I look for in pitching.
Oh boy.
And he's got like he throws about 95 on the heater, which that's huge difference between like 92 to 95. He's got a nice changeup. He's got a good slider, and then he mixes in a curve and a sinker. Like he's got like everything, but he's not quite there yet. But I think he's going to be pretty good. I just don't think this is the slate to do it, I guess. But
yeah, well, it's good weather. If nothing else.
Yeah, a little wind blowing in.
For pitching,
55 degrees. Yeah. I think on this slate he's worth it for GPPs. Brewers don't.
Weather Edge, by the way. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Brewers don't strike out a ton.
Yeah.
And they're probably
Weather Edge has it. Go ahead.
Sorry. And I like attacking the White Sox with like every pitcher. So like Brewers definitely have upside, but just play a little bit GPPs tonight.
Okay, so I don't see the Brewers on the board. Where did you put the Brewers? What category?
I didn't. I would put them in. I would put them in Olympics. Even though I just made a spiel about Shane Smith.
Well, that's tout 101, right? Either way, you're a winner. Either way, you're right.
Gonna get him and nail 1 out of 2.
Scoreboard. Edit the part out where you talked up Shane Smith.
Yeah.
Or highlight that part, depending on. Okay. One game. Oh, did you put the White Sox? Producer Steve just threw them in the gutter. Is that where you want them? The White Sox?
Yeah, because of the weather. But put them in. Yeah, you have to put them in the bottom.
That's their spot.
They're kind of heating up though right now. Like Robert, Lou Bob is.
What is heating up for them?
He's starting to hit. Lou Bob, Benintendi's hitting. They got Vargas is okay. Matt Tice could hit a bomb. You know what? I kind of like 2 through 6 of the White Sox.
Okay. By the way, shout out to Bootleg Head Chopper in chat. Says great work yesterday, fellas. Only took 1 line in the slam, hit 3rd place. There you go. Shout out to that's not the real Chopper. That's the Bootleg Chopper. Athletics taking on the Rangers, 8.5 as a total. Texas is a -155 favorite. It's Severino versus Eovaldi. Another shuffle up of these Texas lineup. They're trying all sorts of things. Langford's leading off, and Smith. Burger Time moved up to the 3rd spot. Jock Peterson, who's been horrendous, but I still think this is a spot for him. There's always the threat of the pinch hit, but Peterson certainly has the ability to bang one out. Marcus Semien has been on fire of late. He's really vengeful. Hates these Athletics. Josh Young, your boy, the Cube Missile, still buried in the 7-hole. Heim kicked out of the cleanup spot down to the 8-hole, and there's Tavares back in the 9. Where do we have Texas versus the Athletics? We talked about it before. Boudet shuffled down to the 8 spot.
Bobby Gomes in chat saying Dean is a notorious hater of White Sox.
I like good baseball players, so I don't know what to tell you. And I hate them. Like Frank Thomas was good. I would roster him if he was available and healthy, and he was taking his whatever pills he's out there pumping for the people.
You don't know the names of the pills?
I can't remember.
Nugenics, isn't it? Nugenics? Yeah.
I think so. Is he still advertising for whatever that is?
We know what it is. We need the Don West video. We need Don West. Too bad he's not around to do new Gen X. Imagine if he was doing that.
R.I.P. Yeah, we both have a fondness for Don West. And if you do a Google search or maybe like a YouTube search, you might find some Don West videos on RotoGrinders. We did some work with him many years ago. That was a lot of fun.
What was the computer machine?
Something 3000, like this. It was something 2000. He was very. He was up for anything. He was up for anything, and he just leaned into the.
He was so famous that SNL was doing skits.
Will Ferrell did a bit. Yeah, that's what really elevated him. Yeah, Will Ferrell. If you Google that, if you've never seen,
and he deserved every minute of it. He's the best. Like that one thing that I tweeted out that probably no one even watched. How he was selling a baseball card box set, little box sets, and he got from, you know what, you're gonna walk into the bar, you're gonna see the hottest girl in the bar, and you go right up to her and say, you, me, let's go. Like, and she said, she's gonna
okay. You have a 1987 Topps complete set. Okay.
No. She goes, because I'm a man who knows how to take a deal and not let him pass him by. And she goes, can I? And then she goes, can I go home with you? And he goes, that's how it is around here, folks. Like selling a base and then hanging out with Michael Jordan. He got too. Like it's crazy. He was the best sales pitch of all time.
He was an amazing salesman. Later on, he became a wrestling announcer many years. I don't know if you're aware of that. But yeah, shout out to Don West. He was a lot of fun.
I like Texas. I mean, Texas is just they've got a nice lineup that's like pretty affordable, right? Like Jake Berger batting third, home run
and Peterson. If you want four strikeouts.
I mean, Jock's gonna hit one. You know what? Juggalo bomb number one tonight. Jock Peterson takes Severino deep.
Ooh, so he's not the Supercuts play of the day, or the fade of the day. You actually like.
He is the Supercuts play of the day, the Tiny Hands play of the day. He's every play.
He's everything.
After you play Jock Peterson, you're gonna walk up to any girl in any bar and say, "You, me, let's go."
Wait, hold on. Before we go anywhere, did you or did you not play Jock Peterson today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Peterson too, but also, lefty comes in, he gets the hook. Most likely, just be aware of that.
I said he's going to take Severino deep.
No, I'm just saying for the people, just don't be shocked if it's like the fifth inning or so and the bases are loaded and they're bringing in the lefty.
Dean, you don't like a home run for 2.4K?
Yes. Yeah, well, you can't just speak it into existence, so you can't.
You're the type of guy who lets good deal pass you right by. You don't leave your mind open. Me, I know how to act on deals.
I wanted to see how lefty. Okay, so let me tell you this. Are you ready for this? They have two lefties in that bullpen for the Athletics. One is Hogan Harris. Speaking of wrestling, he threw 46 pitches yesterday.
Last night?
Yeah, he's not going to pitch today. And the other is TJ McFarland, who's thrown 2 out of the last 3. Now he rested on Monday, but he threw on Sunday. He threw 8 pitches, 14 pitches yesterday. He's available, but just basically one lefty there. Just so the chances of the pinch hits a little diminished. I'll say that. I'll say that. And whatever, I'm not afraid of it either. Like you said, he bang one out in the first inning, and who cares? If he gets pinch hit for, so be it.
And they went nuts last night, and I think they're gonna continue on. They're gonna put a little hot streak here. You got Josh Smith for cheap for shortstop eligible. You got Semien came through a bunch of hits last night, 2.8K. Yeah. You got
he's been waking up. He's been waking
up.
The
Cuban Missile, El Bombi, Adolis Garcia. He had a nice bases clearing double. He got there last night. Everyone.
AJ in chat says Dean is off his rocker. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I don't know how to take that, but thank you for watching, AJ. I hope you hit the like button and subscribe, and you hang out with us. We have crunch time coming in soon, momentarily. Let's see when they're knocking in the door. I don't know if they're assembled or not. I don't have such privileges to see. I would imagine at least Tim is hanging out because he was here at the start of our show. Any other gimmicks before we hand it off to crunch time? Give me this, Kirkwood.
I have an idea. Maybe this will work for you, Dean. Next time, do you have it?
Yeah.
If you open incognito mode, on your browser and take the link that you lined in for this show and you put it on that other one, will it show you?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what path you were taking me down.
I'm just cooking here. I'm just cooking with ideas here.
All right, we got Tim. We have STL cards. We have Kevin Roth. Oh, we didn't recap the board. Should we recap the board? Did the people see the board? Do we have to recap it? Probably should recap it if we still have it available. If not, we can just
Smart. Chop said that this show is about entertainment. That's what he says.
Was it entertaining? That's subjective, I suppose. Here is the board. We power ranked. If you guys are late, we power ranked Greek things. Number 1, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, spectacular human, spectacular basketball player. They gave us the Olympics, the naked Olympics that Kirk was so excited about previously. In the Greek freak is the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Mets. The Olympics. That is the most stacked.
You want to know what the number one thing? What's that Greek statue with the little
David?
Yeah, the tiny
the
micro
tiny hands.
tiny hands.
I don't know if David's I don't know if David's Greek. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if David's Greek, to be honest. I'm not a historian or nothing. Socrates, by the way, somehow he got shafted. Somehow Socrates did not make the board. Are the people entertained? I don't know, but I did lose now I can't see the board anymore with that GIF on the screen. Thank you, Steve.
Rangers up
Italian in the chat.
To Peter, Rangers up top. I'm throwing them just because of pricing all the way up top.
Oh, there you go. A mid show upgrade. The Rangers just
A's. I'm gonna throw. You have all these tough to get to. I'm gonna throw them in yogurt or gyro if you want. You could, I would be fine with that. But
Olympics still the most popular. You got St. Louis, you have Cincinnati, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, Milwaukee, Euro, just Philadelphia and Arizona. You're not in the fence here. That's kind of like the fence riding spot. Yogurt has Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Did the White Sox get upgraded? I guess they did. And then the Athletics are in the yogurt spot, and then Washington all by their lonesome in feta. All right, let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue to crunch time. Chief mineralogist Kevin Roth, STL cards, probably an exhausted STL cards. Because he wrote today's big boy article, probably woke up really early for that. And I imagine also watched his cards to play the first half of their doubleheader. As well as, what do you got?
I just pulled up for those looking for the statue, for the Greek statues.
Yes, this is important.
But so the answer, someone put, why do Greek statues have small members? And the reason is
Glad we halted the show for this.
Is because they worshipped small members. It said back then. Now that's the kind of world that I want to live in. You know.
Seamless transition. Here comes crunch time. It's STL cards. It's baseball tie. It's Tim, and it's Kevin Roth. Let's do it. Crunch time. Can you top that, Roth? I don't have any. What can you do? What am I supposed to do with that as a host?
What are we doing here? You know, I just tuned in, and that's what I catch. What's going on in the show before us?
It's the kind of world I want to live in.
Yeah.
That's all.
I don't know if you know this, but originally scheduled was Tim. Tim was supposed to be a partner with me, and Tim could not fast enough. He could not be fast enough to say, "Hey, Kirkwood accidentally knocked on the door, and he thought he was coming in 4:30." And Tim's like, "Oh, would you please switch with me?" Like he wanted no part of this, so he stuck me with Kirkwood. And Tim has no interest in doing a show with me, apparently. So that's the backstory. That's what happened today.
But you can understand why.
I get it.
Yeah, right.
Fair enough. I suppose. Did you have any takes? Any Greek takes? A little different as far as today's board. What did we miss? What was good? What was bad? Any critiques?
I always thought that David was hung. Just kidding.
I don't think he's Greek, for the record. I don't. I think that was a chop back that Kirk was putting out there.
I don't know. It's a ridiculous argument. It's a good board, but ridiculous.
All right. I was getting yelled at for the feta take. I would imagine you're on Team Feta, but I guess not. The cheese?
Tight.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
Tight.
Cards, is this your first show during the week? At least it's the first time I think I'm segueing to you. Is that fair to say? I think. Maybe. And you're on mute.
Oh boy, get the mute count going already.
Which Kirkwood was on mute.
Man.
Sometimes.
If you could mute me, is that what you guys?
Go ahead, Cards.
No, he's still on mute. Oh boy, it's going to be a tech issue today, boys. It's one of those shows.
Uh-oh. Tim, look at all the usage Tim just inherited. Look how bad
Tim's Yeah.
What a trade! What a trade!
How good do you run, Kirkwood?
I saw this coming. You want to know how good I run? Jock Peterson is going to homer in his first at bat tonight. That's how good I run.
I feel like there must be some kind of collusion going on here because you never run this good.
Oh yeah.
Was Jock Peterson the picture though on the YouTube? Was he the what is the thumbnail? Was he the thumbnail today? He was not. So that means he possibly could homer. There's a chance.
Oh, did we catch up on how that went yesterday? Do we know?
Producer
Bregman went 3 for 5 and had a home run.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he took down Ozuna in Coors Stadium and Coors Field 2 days. He got a donut last night. The stench from Steve's thumbnail was so bad that it gave him a bagel last night again. So.
Yeah, it carried over. But the day I put him off, he did have 9 points.
I have risen from the dead.
Hey, he's back.
I was too busy trying to find my measuring stick. Sorry. I made it.
Is that a callback to David? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I was.
Nicely done.
I mean, just think you would have never gotten on that topic if Tim and didn't switch. So you can thank Tim for that.
I really made the show.
I don't know what happened there. It did not say I was
playing
muted,
checkers.
but I was.
We're playing checkers while Tim plays chess. That's what's going on.
That's right.
The sliding doors moment that caused all this nonsense. You guys got 50 minutes still, so you still have time for shenanigans. I think it's 50 minutes until first pitch, Yankees and Baltimore. Is there anything else we need, Kirkwood, before we step aside and get out of here and make way? Enjoy your trip to Mexico. Have a good time.
Thank you. I was just going to say, if I were Steve and the producer, I would have at least put a picture of one of the statues up there. Just a statue, but that's all right. All right. Have good luck. Have a good night. No.
That was Kirkwood. What are we doing? I was Dean. Roth, take it away.
This used to be a family show. It used to be a mature show where we would talk sports, and then Kirkwood started talking. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Going to take you up to lock, hopefully, if the questions keep coming. We might take you through lock, and we will certainly give you some good takes, pitchers, hitters, home runs, answer your questions. We're doing all that, and you got two absolute geniuses. It sounds sarcastic when I say it that way. Two absolute geniuses to help walk you through it. Tim, Tasteful Tides in the house. What up, Tim?
Yeah, not much. Great show by Kirky and Dean. Always nice to see STL. Pretty awesome slate here, at least for GPPs. Kind of a weird one if you're playing cash games, but I think this is a pretty awesome tournament slate. So I'm pretty excited to hear what STL has to say, and excited to break it down with you guys.
Very good. Well, we will get to that. By the way, I have to say, I love your hoodie. Did you buy that, or is that like a perk for being good at DraftKings?
I think it was a perk for being bad at DraftKings.
I was gonna say that's usually not when they give the perks out.
I think this is a $300,000 sweatshirt. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't realize that's how it worked. All right.
He got that with his crowns.
Yeah. We got STL Cards in the house as well. Justin Van Zuiden. Cards, how are you? And how you feeling about the slate?
Yeah, it is a pretty fun one tonight. I wrote for Cheese today. It's his birthday, so gave him the day off. And it's a fun slate tonight. Definitely more skewed towards offense. The pitching is kind of ugly, but everyone's dealing with the same player pool. I would imagine we'll see a pretty high scoring night. Certainly a few of these teams are going to put up some runs, and 9 games is pretty decent sized night slate for Wednesday. Sometimes you get, a few too many day games in there, but like the split today, I think the slate tonight is pretty fun. We only have 8. If you're playing on FanDuel, they're not including the second game of the doubleheader because their tech goes wonky with that. So only 8 games on FanDuel, 9 on DraftKings.
Okay, well, let's start there with the second game of the doubleheader because that is where we begin our weather concerns, and I'll put up the air quotes on that. I think that's the only game where we legitimately have a chance for a delay, and still that chance is low enough that I think whatever it is you were planning on doing, probably just do it anyway. I'm hoping there's not like a cash pitcher, a chalk.
There are no pitchers. So what MLB has started doing a couple years ago after COVID for these doubleheaders, right? If you remember the COVID year, and we got time, it won't take a ton of time to go through the slate. But if you remember the COVID year, What they did is every team had a bunch of double headers because the schedule was so condensed and they still wanted to get 60 games in or whatever it was in the COVID year. And so they started letting teams have an extra player every time there was a doubleheader, just as a benefit to add to the roster. And they've kept that. That's actually one of the COVID changes that they kept. So when you play a doubleheader, you get an extra player for your roster. And what most teams do, because a doubleheader throws off your starting pitching rotation, is a lot of times they just use that doubleheader as a second starting pitcher for the day. They call up a guy to pitch one game and then they send him back down. So both teams are basically using a fill-in guy as a pitcher. So if anything, it's offense and definitely no pitching in that game, no matter how many lineups you're playing.
Interesting. And Dean said what I was thinking you were going to say is that during COVID, the doubleheaders were also 7 innings.
That's correct.
I was like, are they still doing that? But no, they're not doing that anymore. But
I think that was a compromise when they started the Ghost Runner thing. Which I hate, by the way. I hate the Ghost Runner at second and extra innings. It's shenanigans. It's stupid. I think you got to play at least 10 or 11 innings before you start the Ghost Runner bananas. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Producer Steve in agreement. Yeah, I mean, you can bring in a Ghost Runner eventually, so it doesn't go 18, but you don't need to start it right off the bat. I'm fine with that call. Okay, well, let's dive into this slate here, pitcher-wise. Who is most excited to talk about it? Who wants to go first? No, that laugh means Cards goes first. Cards, what do you got for us here? I know it's not a pitching slate, but we got to play 2 guys on DK. We need 1 on FanDuel. Who you like?
Yeah, it's a pretty small pool tonight, for sure. I mean, no matter which way you want to slice it, I think the top 2 guys are Uvalde and Sanchez. And so I don't really have a strong preference between the 2. So I'm kind of letting salary be my guide on that. So if we're on DraftKings, Uvalde is 9,200. Sanchez is 8,200. So I would call Sanchez my SP1 over there and Uvalde my SP2. On FanDuel, Sanchez is more expensive than Uvalde. So I'd flip that and call Uvalde. If the salaries were the same, I would prefer Uvalde. With the discount on DraftKings, I slightly prefer Sanchez over there. But frankly, I think the optimal DraftKings pairing is probably both of those guys, especially in cash games. I think that's going to be the most popular pairing. But in the same token, there's nobody on the slate that has a strikeout prop over 5.5. So you're not necessarily losing a ton if you go down. It's just trying to avoid the landmines, of which I think there's just going to be a lot of them tonight. Some people are interested in Matthew Boyd. I don't really love that. I guess he's fairly safe. Not a ton of strikeouts there. Drew Rasmussen, the Rays never tend to let him go. I don't think he's finished 6 innings all year. Tobias Myers gets just because he's facing the White Sox bump. Shane Smith is the White Sox ace right now. What you want to make of that? It's just not a lot to love. So Sanchez and Uvalde, I would say definitely are my top 2. I might not even go beyond those 2 on FanDuel. I don't think you need to. Myers, Smith, I have a little bit of. Corbin Burns is kind of the other name on the slate, but he's been largely terrible this year and has to face the Mets on the road. I really am not interested in that at all. So, frankly, my pool is basically Sanchez, Uvalde, and then on DraftKings, maybe a sprinkle of Rasmussen, Boyd, and Shane Smith and Myers. So 6 guys, 6 pitchers are in my entire pool, even, if you're doing 50-plus lineups tonight. And that's about it.
Yeah, okay. Card, someone said they want to vote for you to be commissioner, and we got a proposal from Brandon Leach, just really quick in the extra innings. I want to run it by you, and as commish, you can thumbs it up or thumbs down. 10th inning, no runners. 11th inning runner on first. 12th inning runner on second. He says, et cetera, et cetera. I assume you just stop there and go on at second. But what say you, thumbs up, thumbs down that proposal?
Yeah, I think that's better than the current system. I don't mind it. But I'd play, and I'm a fan of the old, just play it out. And I get it. The teams don't want to be playing like 18 innings when you're playing a 162 game season. But, I'd play at least a couple normal innings. Maybe you get to the 12th, you start with a guy on first, the 13th, you get a guy on second. Could also just be jaded because the Cardinals are 0-4 in extra innings this year. That's certainly better than the current.
Okay.
Proposal.
All right. Just checking. I'm getting some questions on a little cheapie here. I've had 3 people bring up Cameron. I want Tim to come in here Walk me through your full thoughts, but at some point, make sure you touch on Cameron as well.
Yeah, so just really quick on FanDuel, I agree with I agree with Justin. It's Christopher Sanchez, it's Nathan Eovaldi. I wouldn't mind getting to a little bit of Matthew Boyd in GPPs. I wouldn't mind getting to a little bit of Shane Smith, even on FanDuel at 7,500. I don't think I would go anywhere below Shane Smith on FanDuel. So it's a pretty ugly night for pitching just in general. I think I would be completely fading Corbin Burns. And I think I'd be completely fading Drew Rasmussen, at least on FanDuel at 9,200, just because he most likely will not get you the quality start. So I'm not going to be paying 9,200 for a guy who's not going to get you that quality start bonus just because his leash is so minimal. So I think so. Then on DK, obviously, I mean, Christopher Sanchez and Nathan Eovaldi are going to be your cash game guys. I think you can play Drew Rasmussen on at least on DraftKings. Same thing with Matthew Boyd. I absolutely love him as well. Tobias Myers at 7,200 I think is fine. Shane Smith at 7K, and then Noah Cameron, who is people have been asking me all day about this guy. I mean, he's 4K. This stadium that Tampa Bay is in, it's like a completely different ball game, though, right? Compared to the old Tropicana Dome.
Yeah.
So there's that factor. But I mean, he's projected for 75 pitches. He's 4K, and there are a lot of bats on the slate that I want to play. So if you guys want to take that risk, at least in GBPs, I don't particularly have like a huge issue with that. Is 10 points going to be enough? I'm not really sure, but if you want to load up on some of the premium stacks that we're going to talk about, then that's your route to do that is to play Noah Cameron at the Stone Mint.
So my counter to that, and I don't disagree with what Tim's saying. I totally valid because he's 4K. My counter to that would be I was able to do my two favorite stacks. Effectively, I got a lineup with Eovaldi and Sanchez, those two pitchers on DK that has Aaron Judge and Gunnar on it. So, there's enough bats in the 2Ks even on DraftKings or 3K that I just didn't have trouble getting to the pitchers that I wanted. It's not like we got an 11K pitcher that we're trying to pair with. Even Eovaldi is only 9,200. So I just didn't find the need to go down to 4K, for a guy that's basically playing in a minor league park, making his major league debut. You just don't know how those things are going to go. And yeah, if you want to do it in a few GPP lineups to get all the bats you want, you can, but I just didn't find a need even to get Aaron Judge. I wasn't forced to go down to him to get the bats I wanted.
And I will say just really quick, just to kind of be transparent with the people. Noah Cameron does not sim very well. I'm only getting to 2% of him. So I do not think he's some kind of spectacular GPP play, but he's somebody that you can play if you really want to. I don't think you're horrible if you do that, but not somebody I would be overweight in GPPs, especially. I mean, a lot of people are talking about him, so I'm worried you might get a little bit steamed in ownership. So that would make me even more nervous to play him. But it's definitely a kind of a sketchy play, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I got one more name that got brought up. It was by Eric Johnson. Eric he's got some takes. I think he said Severino is going to dominate tonight, and he was upset nobody mentioned Severino. Or as Jorge in the YouTube chat said, Severino is trash, just like that team he plays for. So, Tim, Severino, yay or nay?
I would probably go nay on Severino.
Yeah. Okay. Devin says, I'd play Roth for 4K if he had a decent pitch count. I don't. The shoulder doesn't. I don't have more than 25 pitches in me. All right. Let's talk about the bats and the stacks, Tim. You mentioned there's a lot. Look, it's not a great pitching slate. I assume that means it is a great hitting slate. I hope.
You would think
no.
that, but it really isn't. I don't
Damn
think.
it. I hate these sites.
Yeah. It's not horrible. I'm going to anticipate that the Yankees are going to be pretty chalky and are probably in the quote unquote best spot. It's definitely, they have a 4.8 total, which on this slate is actually really good. I would assume that the Cubs will be pretty popular as well. They have an over a 5 total right now. Guys like Kyle Tucker and Ian Happ, I would assume are going to be pretty popular. I think that there are some contrarian ways that you can build as well. I'm getting to quite a bit of Boston. I'm getting to quite a bit of the Royals. I'm getting to quite a bit of the Rangers as well. So, but I think the Yankees, Cubs, and Red Sox are going to be probably the more popular stacks.
Yeah. Cards, you got a few favorites?
Yeah, I mean, it's all of them, basically, the way we talked about pitching. You can probably go about 11 deep. We got 9 games, maybe 4 teams that you wouldn't consider stacking, and the other ones you could probably all make a case for. The Yankees and the Orioles happen to be playing each other, but they are my 2 favorite stacks. The Yankees, we saw them last night. The Yankees went back to start the game last night. For the second time this season, they've started a game with 3 straight home runs. They had 4 in the first inning. They scored 15. I mean, that's just the Yankees can do that when they get rolling. And I mean, they're facing a mediocre lefty tonight, Povich. And then the Baltimore side, this is a team that's been kind of underwhelming so far this year, but really like them against Carlos Carrasco. Doesn't strike anybody out anymore. There's power throughout that lineup. I also like the way that Baltimore lineup sets up from a value perspective tonight. Was kind of waiting for it after the last couple days, but they did bump Ramon Laureano up to 5th tonight, and he's 2,300 on a DK. So you've got a $2,300 number 5 hitter for Baltimore, which does help fit that stack in from a salary perspective. Jackson Holliday's hitting 6th. He's only 3,300. So Baltimore becomes pretty affordable on a night where salary might become an issue at some places. So I still have the Yankees ahead of them in terms of my overall projection, but I've got quite a bit of Baltimore too. I don't mind Toronto as kind of a sneakier stack. Lucas Giolito hasn't pitched in the major leagues in a year and a half. And we've seen a whole lot of this with pitchers that sign late out of spring training. I wrote about this a little bit in the article today, but we saw Kyle Gibson was the late signee for the Orioles, and didn't really get much done in spring training, had a little injury, and just made his first start of the season last night, and gave up those 4 home runs in the first inning to the Yankees, and I think 11 runs overall in 3 2/3 innings. So you just don't know what to expect out of Giolito. Toronto's not going to get much ownership because this is such a deep slate for bats. I like Texas as well against the aforementioned Severino. All of their bats are projected under 10% ownership. They're fairly affordable as well, outside of Wyatt Langford. In fact, they're all pretty cheap. So you can go home run hunting there. I think Toronto and Texas are my favorite off the board stacks. The Yankees and Orioles are my favorite overall stacks. I like the Cubs as well, but they're just a little too expensive on the whole for my liking. So I haven't found myself getting to as much of them. That is the one team that is hard to stack if you're playing Eovaldi and Sanchez at pitcher.
Yeah. And can I just say one quick thing about Toronto?
Please.
On FanDuel, Toronto is going to be fairly popular just because they're priced really affordably. So on FanDuel, I do think they're going to be relatively chalky.
Okay, well, the chat does not like them. These are the last 3 comments in the chat. Ruthless Villain says Toronto is gutless. Shannon says the Toronto lineup, woof. And Eric says Blue Jays might be the worst team in baseball. I
don't know if that's.
I mean, they're not as good as everyone. See, everyone's clinging to these thoughts from a few years ago that Toronto was supposed to be this elite offense, right? When Bichette first came up and Vlad and all the other prospects, they've had a few of them that have kind of flopped. And think everyone kind of clings to a thought that Toronto is supposedly this elite offense. I don't think they're necessarily an elite offense on the whole anymore. But again, Giolito, we just haven't seen him in so long that who knows? I mean, sometimes these can go off the rails and it's more the pitcher struggling than it is the offense. I'm not out here saying I think Toronto is going to win the AL East or anything like that. But on this, it's kind of the weird beauty about playing one night DFS. All that matters is tonight. And I do think they can put up some runs against them.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick before we move on, we're going to go position by position. Then we're going to answer all your questions, and we're going to give some home run calls. But we need some likes. Apparently, we only have I saw a pathetic number of likes, which is a little insulting. It's free content, and it's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Hit that thumbs up for us to keep.
They all removed their thumbs up when Kirkwood stared getting inappropriate at the end of the show.
We had over 1,000 likes, and then Kirkwood started talking. It's down to 82. Make sure you hit the thumbs up for us. Let's go around the horn, and then we'll get to some QQs and cards. You can start us off, catcher.
You made me start off the pitcher talk, and now you make me start off the catcher talk.
But I think the person who gets catcher also gets outfield first. But I might be wrong. Hang on, I'll do the math in my head.
Yeah, the math is wrong.
Okay.
Math is wrong, Bob. Yeah, it's fine. And catcher isn't, it's not as bad as it is some nights. We do have some higher end guys to target tonight, of which obviously I like the Orioles. So Rutschman is going to get a nod from me. He's 4,900. On the other side, I don't love lefty with Austin Wells, but he is hitting 6 tonight. The Yankees have rearranged their lineup a little bit too. He's 3,700. So like both of the catchers in that game, I prefer both of those offenses. I do prefer Rutschman over William Contreras if you're spending up. I don't have a ton of interest in the Brewers tonight. Smith's been good enough for the White Sox. And I don't know what the wind is doing in Chicago tonight, but I would imagine I complain to Roth all the time when I'm on that it's always like 50 degrees and crappy in the Midwest in April, and it's still April for another 7 hours. So Roth, can I pencil in the 50 degrees and chilly and a little breezy in Chicago like usual?
It's all of those things and add in a little bit of rain. It's just truly,
all right, a little mist. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a little benefit of being a couple hours away, so usually I can ballpark it from our weather here. But as usual, crappy in the Midwest. And Midwest dad rant, right? The kids are both in track, and it is now outdoor track season. And we had a day like last weekend where it was 80 and sunny and beautiful. And then what was it today? We had to go to an outdoor track meet. No, it was 56, and it was misting and drizzling. And, that just the kids got to run in that too. So anyway, I don't love the weather set up there in Chicago. Don't love the offenses on either side. So would prefer Rutschman over William Contreras if you're choosing to spend up at catcher tonight. Carson Kelly has been raking for the Cubs. I certainly don't think he's going to keep up the numbers that he has, but I do think he's a guy that a lot of people will leave out of Cub stacks because he's 5K. He's the most expensive catcher on the board. So if you want to make your Cub stack a little bit different, I mean, he is hitting 5th, so leave Kelly in there. But Rutschman, Gabriel Moreno as a cheap catcher, or whoever's in your stack.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, you got anything you want to add there? It was fairly well covered.
Yeah, it was very well covered. Adley Rutschman on FanDuel is 2,900, so you can definitely play him on FanDuel outside of stacks. Really, that's way too cheap. On DK, he's 4,900. He's absolutely fine in GBPs. Gabriel Moreno is probably your cash game guy. He's 2,900, batting 6th. I like him quite a bit. I like Alejandro Kirk at 3K, batting 6th against kind of the unknown Giolito. And then I know this sounds pretty bad because he's super expensive, but I really like Carson Kelly at 5K just because I really like the Cubs tonight. So I don't know a lot of people who are going to pay up for Kelly necessarily at that price tag. So I do like him in GPPs.
Okay, good stuff. Take me to first base, Tim.
So it's probably Paul Goldschmidt at 4,200 batting leadoff for that top Yankee stack on DraftKings at 4,200. Vlad Guerrero is your guy on FanDuel. He's just he's just way too cheap at under 3K. So it's Vlad. You could play Vlad in GPPs as well on DraftKings. I don't mind Spencer Steer at 3,500. Ryan O'Hearn at 4,300 going up against Carrasco. I like quite a bit. Tristan Cassis at 3,400. I think he's a really good play. And then Jake Berger, if you really need a punt, I do like Texas tonight just because they're so darn cheap, and Severino is really not like anything special. So Jake Berger at 2,700, I think, is a really nice play.
Yeah. Okay. Cards, your thoughts at first.
Yeah, I agree on Texas. That's part of the reason that they are attractive as a stack, because you got a lot of cheap pieces. Cheap pieces plus Langford, pretty easy to stack up with those top end pitchers tonight. But I did write up Goldschmidt as my favorite point per dollar play on the slate today. Ridiculous splits against lefties. He's always been a guy throughout his career that has made a living on hitting lefties really well. Struggled in his last season with the Cardinals, but obviously going from a Cardinals team that was struggling and then signing with a free agent contract with the Yankees and hitting behind Aaron Judge is a lot different than hitting in the middle of the Cardinals order. So, Goldschmidt against the lefty, he's leading off tonight. They've done that quite a bit against lefties this year. Potential extra at bats on the road as a leadoff hitter, could hit 5 times, 6 times if the game goes really well. So Goldschmidt is my preferred play at first. And even if I was trying to pick out one Yankee, I think I would probably pick Goldschmidt over Judge simply because of the discount and the position. So he's my favorite guy. Again, I don't mind Vlad Guerrero as a one-off play. Even if you're not super high on Toronto as a whole, Guerrero as a power one-off is fine. Agree with Tim's call on Jake Berger. Wilson Contreras, if you're playing on DraftKings, hitting cleanup for the Cardinals in the second game of that doubleheader against a call-up pitcher. And not a lot of people will be like paying attention to that game because it isn't on the FanDuel slate. It's a doubleheader. So a lot of times I think those games just tend to get ignored. Bryce Harper's fine as a contrarian spend up, but I don't think I'm getting too much Philly tonight. Jake Irvin's been surprisingly good for Washington. So outside of Schwarber, who I do like, not much Philly exposure for me. So first base, Goldschmidt, Guerrero, Jake Berger as a value. That's it for me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to second base cards.
Yeah, so second base is pretty weak tonight. Don't love a whole lot of options really at the position at all. Boston is kind of facing a bullpen game. So if you're playing on DK or Bregman's available at second, you can spend up for him. Is he the optimal use of top end salary? Probably not. Matt McClain, don't feel like he's a must. Like, I just don't love the spend ups at this position all that much. And I don't think there's a ton of opportunity cost here, right? Our projections don't have anybody over 10 DK points at second. So for me, on a night where you don't want to go super cheap at pitching, you're going to want to spend up for other bats at other positions. This becomes a spot where I think you should save. Not mandatory by any means, but Marcus Semien finally has looked a little bit better at the plate the last few games. He's 2,800 on DraftKings. He's really cheap on FanDuel as well. He's hitting 5th for Texas. He is the kind of cheap guy that I think makes the lineup builds work. Pablo Reyes is 2,200 on DraftKings. He's hitting 7th for the Yankees tonight, so he's basically min salary. To me, you're playing one of those cheap guys at second. Now, if you want to be a little bit different, or you're stacking up the Reds, right? If you're stacking the Reds, sure, put McClain in there. If you're stacking Boston, put Bregman in there. But it's a go cheap spot for me.
Yeah. Okay, Tim, second base.
Yeah, second base just always seems to be really ugly. Probably Marcus Semien is your cash game guy on both sites. Tim Tawa at 3,400, batting leadoff on DK, and he is 2,700 on FanDuel. I think he's a reasonably good GPP pivot. I really like Christian Campbell on both sites tonight. I think has a pretty decent spot, batting 6th. Probably not in cash, but certainly in GPPs as part of a Red Sox stack. I don't mind Jackson Holiday either. He's pretty darn cheap, but I mean, Cards is right though. Like, this is definitely like a spend down position. This is not a big opportunity cost position. This is a great source of value in all of your lineups.
Okay, third base, Tim.
Sure. So third base, I don't mind Alex Bregman or Rafael Devers. I do like the Red Sox tonight. They're both fantastic as one-offs or as part of a stack. I don't mind Josh Young at 3,800, batting 6th as part of that kind of cheapish Rangers stack. Novelli Marte at 4,100. I don't think that game's going to get played very much. He's projecting for 3% ownership. Eugenio Suarez at 4,500. I like for GPPs. If you're looking for a cash game, third baseman, I think you're spending up for probably you're spending up for Devers.
Yeah. Okay. Cards, third base, spending up.
Yeah, I don't mind Devers as well. I would probably treat him as my preferred spend from Boston. It's a little bit tricky because we don't know what Toronto's going to do with their pitching staff tonight. They're kind of cobbling together a bullpen-ish game. So it's tricky. Boston's always a little bit tricky to me when you don't know the specific matchups and how they're going to progress throughout the game, because they tend to be a little bit unpredictable as far as bench moves and things of that nature. But certainly I'm not suggesting that Bregman or Devers are going to come out of the game, but lefty comes in later, what have you. It's just a little bit tricky. So I do like Suarez a little bit as a spend up tonight against the Mets. Are also kind of offering some type of bullpen game. Former Cardinals prospect Brandon Waddell is expected to pitch maybe in a bulk relief role. I think Brazaban's going to start. In any case, Arizona's offense very much underappreciated for what it's worth. Like, I know it's weird that guys like Perdomo and Pavin Smith and Josh Naylor, and obviously everybody respects Carroll, but the bottom part of that lineup, the middle to bottom part of that lineup, they got really good major league hitters that I don't think get the overall respect that they deserve. So, Suarez hit 4 dingers the other night, and people talked about it for about 5 minutes, and we move on. But he's hitting cleanup. Dangerous order. I didn't really talk about Arizona in terms of stacks, probably for that same reason, right? It's just you don't think of them as this top tier group, but don't mind them. Just another spot that's tricky in terms of they're kind of facing a bullpen game tonight, and those spots just tend to go a little bit under-owned. So he's another guy that I would throw in the GPP mix. Fairly small pool here, though. I mean, Devers, Reyes, who I mentioned at second, Yandy Diaz, I think is fine. Suarez, who I just mentioned. You maybe throw some Espinal in there on DK if you need another cheapie, but I'm not super thrilled about that. Josh Young for Texas, if you're stacking them. I mean, you can put him in some Texas stacks, but that's really about it for me at third tonight.
Okay, then I think we go to shortstop cards.
Yeah, so at least I get the one. I don't get outfield, but get shortstop.
Right.
So that's the makeup for starting at catcher. To me, I mentioned my favorite offenses are the Yankees and the Orioles. So you've got Henderson as the spend up, and Volpe is not all that expensive, really. I think he's still in the 2s, maybe the high 2s on FanDuel. 4,200 on DraftKings, hitting 5th against a lefty. If you need the money down from Henderson, I think it's perfectly fine to play Volpe. I've got pretty equal exposure to both. Ellie is okay on DraftKings if you've got $6K to spend. To me, I just prefer getting down to Henderson or Volpe. And, the Reds are facing a lefty in game 2. Matz is pretty good at holding runners. So, and Matz has been pretty good so far this year in kind of a hybrid starter relief role. Don't know how deep he's going to go tonight, but I don't think Ellie is a priority. Bobby Witt would be the contrarian. You can play Bobby Witt against anybody. He's facing a good pitcher, but would be more of a GPP only kind of guy. I think it's pretty clearly either Henderson or Volpe, particularly in cash games. One of those two guys. In tournaments, you can mix and match a little bit more. You could get a Josh Smith or a Bo Bichette or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely Henderson and Volpe 1-2 in whatever order you want to put them in.
Okay, Tim, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely Henderson or Volpe on both sites in cash games. My preference is obviously Henderson, but if you don't have the money, Volpe is great. I really like Trevor Story for GPPs. Same thing with Dansby Swanson. I like Bo Bichette as well, but I would not spend down too heavily here. This is definitely a spend up position.
Okay, well, you get the honor of taking us to the outfield. So what are you doing?
So I think you basically should be playing Aaron Judge and Kyle Tucker in cash games. I think they're both fantastic. There's enough value on the slate to play them. If you don't quite have the money, Ian Happ is fine also. I love Pete Crow Armstrong for GPPs. I like Cedric Mullins in GPPs as well. I don't mind a little bit of like Kyle Schwarber. I don't think many people are going to play him. For value, Trent Grissom is fine. Cards mentioned Ramon Laureano at the very beginning of the show. He's fantastic at 2,300. I love him today in any format. Jock Peterson's fine. I think if I were to punt with one of those guys, Laureano or Peterson, I'd go Laureano, but Peterson is fine also.
Okay. Cards, outfield.
I got distracted because I saw a thread of how long. So it's been a long known running gag on the show that I hate marshmallow peeps. I just can't stand them. I don't know how anyone would eat them. And like a few years ago, they came out with like hot tamales flavored marshmallow peeps. It's just ridiculous what they've come out with. And I know it's after Easter time, and so they start to go away. But I wasn't on the air a ton before Easter, so I still have to get this out. And I saw a internet post, and somebody asked ChatGPT, how long can a person survive by eating only marshmallow peeps and nothing else? I had to just go to the summary of this, but the general consensus from the AI was you could probably survive on marshmallow peeps and water only for about 5 to 6 weeks before the organ damage and potential death would set in. So.
I expected significantly longer.
Does
this tie into the outfield, or this is just?
It has absolutely zero relevance, Roth, to the outfield.
I'm just checking.
I don't think I've never heard of marshmallow peeps before.
Oh my God! Are you?
I'm
Tim's
looking
up there
them up right now.
You have a kid, right? You don't know what peeps are?
Peeps are just peeps.
Nope.
Yeah, peeps. The yellow marshmallows.
Yep, never.
I mean, they're disgusting. They're absolutely disgusting. So
they don't sound great. They don't look great.
They're gross. Yeah, they are gross.
They are.
Yeah,
so,
I've never seen these ever.
I need to move to Bar Harbor because apparently it's like
what do you guys do up there?
Safe haven. Yeah, there's just get it's incredible.
Replaced with fish flavored things, I guess. But
yeah, I hope you like seafood.
Seafood peeps. Those are just disgusting. I mean, just god
Truly
awful.
Terrible.
Why anyone would even the yellow things, and then they come out with all the different flavors and the hot tamales.
So much sugar that you crunch on the sugar as you eat.
It's just disgusting.
Brutal.
I lost a bet to Dean or somebody one time and had to eat one on the air, and it was theater because I can't stand them. Anyway, yes, zero relevance. There was no segue there. It was just a comment when we still got 14 minutes. So Judge and Tucker are the two guys that I was kind of listening to Tim, even though I was searching that through that. But Judge and Tucker, the top two, I would prioritize Judge tonight. Again, I'm underweight on the Cubs, which has me a little bit nervous, but and the Cubs have been fantastic. But with Judge only $100 more, just if I'm choosing, I'm taking Judge, and obviously I like the Yankees a lot. So if I was going for a Cub one-off outfielder, I kind of like Happ for his power upside leading off. Mlodzinski gets a little bit wild at times, so Happ doesn't have good splits this year. But again, it's only been a month. He's pretty streaky. So Happ, I don't mind. Laureano is probably the cheap guy who I mentioned earlier in the show at 2,300 on DraftKings. So you can do a lot of builds with, say, Judge, Laureano, and then one of those middle tier guys. So like something like Judge, Laureano, and like an Anthony Santander, or a Happ, would kind of be my ideal combo. Ryan O'Hearn, you can play at the outfield on DK. And I have played him pretty much all the lines I've put him in the outfield because I like Goldschmidt at first base. Crow Armstrong, maybe another guy for the Cubs that you could look at if you're looking to try to get some exposure to them. That's a little bit more affordable. Let's see. Trent Grisham is another mid-range guy for the Yankees. Kind of surprises me that he's hitting second, lefty, but I don't think Povich will be in there all that long. So I do like Grisham in that lineup spot a little bit more than I did earlier in the day. There might be some others. I mean, outfield is pretty deep. If they come up during questions, we can address some of those. But that's probably good for now.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, the people want some home run calls. That is what they typically hang out for. I want the people to hit the thumbs up because that is, our responsibility is giving the plays. Your responsibility hitting that thumbs up for us. So while they hit thumbs up, Tim, I want you to walk us through 2 or 3 home run calls that you like tonight.
I'll go with Adley Rutschman at plus 600. I'll go Anthony Volpe at plus 950. And then I'll go Kyle Tucker plus 370.
Good stuff. Cards. You got a few names?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Goldschmidt as my favorite batter on the slate, so he's about plus 550 in various spots. So Goldschmidt, rather than I can just say Aaron Judge, but we'll go Goldschmidt from the Yankees. Also like Happ from the Cubs. I believe he's around 600, 650. So Happ and Goldschmidt, definitely my 2 favorites. I will try to poke around for somebody that's maybe a little bit more. I'll go with Bo Bichette at plus 750 as well.
Okay.
That kind of eschews the high, middle, low. That's kind of 3 mid-range guys, but whatever. I'll bend the rules for one night.
It's allowed. I'm not going to stop you. You've been here for over a decade. Hey, you know what? I want to make sure that the people are getting the best deal in the industry. MLB DFS annual option, 425 clams. But we dropped our price of Combo Pro to match the MLB annual package. So instead of just paying $425 for MLB, you're getting all the sports for it, except for NASCAR. And if you do the 6 month as opposed to a month by month, you're saving 35%, which is a huge amount. So make sure you're doing that. Sign up for MLB projections, NBA content, PGA data, and more. Football, I don't know, feels like it's not too far away. So you got a lot coming up that money is.
Did you say clams? 425 clams? Everything's going to be a seafood reference now?
I don't know whether it's, yeah.
We got to work the seafood references in.
I try to use a different term for dollars every time.
So and what are some of the others?
I think earlier today I said schmackaroos. I just make things up as I go, Card says. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Fair enough. I just brought up how long you could survive on only marshmallow peeps. So that's fair game.
Well, when you do the show every single day, often twice a day, you need something. You need some way to entertain yourself. Hey, we got some questions coming in. And Tim, I will start with you. FanDuel single entry. What do you think about Eovaldi with a Boston and Baltimore stack, or Eovaldi with a Yankee Baltimore stack? Which would you prefer? Boston and Baltimore or Yankee and Baltimore?
Both are fantastic. I think the Yankees are pretty good chalk today, so I'd go with them.
Okay. Cards, Marcus in the chat would like to point out that I used clams yesterday, so I'm now repeating.
Oh man, now
that's even worse.
Back-to-back days, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, you got to break out the smackers or something tomorrow.
Yeah, so you got to bones. Yeah, I don't know. We got to do better than back-to-back clams. That's my bad. Let's see, Yankees or Cubs stack, Card. Well, Tim, it's for you. It's Cubs, right? Is that?
It's super close between the two. They're like 1A and 1B for me. Mm-hmm. I think the Yankees are going to be a little bit more popular, so I guess I'd side with the Cubs, but it's super close between the two.
Card, you have a strong lean either way, Yankees v. Cubs?
Yeah, I would take the Yankees. I don't think the ownership's going to be that different to weigh it for me. I just like the way the salaries work. The salaries get tough for me on the Cubs if you're trying to do a full stack. More so than, I mean, obviously with the Yankees you have Judge, but they have some interesting cheap pieces too.
Okay. Chili Chill says, Cards, so this is a FanDuel GPP. I need a pitcher under 9K. We do not have to go with like the 4K dude, but anybody under 9K, FanDuel GPP.
4K dude's only 4K on DraftKings, so he's not. I mean, he's cheap on FanDuel, but you're not going down there on FanDuel anyway. So under 9K, that takes out the top 5 priced guys on FanDuel only. And I mean, so the most expensive, right? Let's just go through that list. The most expensive guy remaining under 9K is Severino, who I'm not touching. I don't like him at all. Jake Irvin, who's been good this year. He's facing the Phillies. And Tobias Myers, because he's facing the White Sox, is viable. I mean, if it's a super risk reward GPP, I don't mind Shane Smith. But I think the cash game play is Myers at 82. But yeah, it's not great, which is why I'm not going below 9K on FanDuel.
Sure. Okay. Let's get to Braden's question in the YouTube. Did I say hit the thumbs up? Hit the thumbs up. Tides, DK Cash, Contreras, Devers, or Rutschdog and Noel. Noel V? Is that Big Christmas?
Yeah, Noel V. No, I don't think that's no.
No, this is a steroid user that just came back from suspension.
Gotcha. I think it's the first one.
I mean, this dude could also be Big Christmas. Well, he's not as big as the other guy. The other guy is more fitting. Let's see. Scrolling down.
You're talking about John Kenzie Noel.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
that
it.
Dude. That is Big Christmas. Scott Davies says, Tim, any interest in Ben Rice tonight? I feel like the Rice has been cooking.
He's a good pivot off of Goldie, so I think that's fine for GPPs.
Okay. Cards. Brian says, shortstop one-off on FanDuel. Smith of the Texas variety, Scott or Turner?
I mean, are we talking Trey Turner? This is a huge difference in salary here, unless I'm missing another Turner. So obviously salary becomes let me see, what is Trey Turner? Trey Turner's only 2,900 on FanDuel. Never mind. I thought he was still higher than that. Yeah, again, I don't love Philly against Urban as a whole, but on FanDuel with Turner at 29, yeah, I'd probably just play him.
Okay, very good. Cards right back to you. Is a Philly stack viable? This is from Anthony.
Yeah, it's always viable. I mean, this is an offense that, especially at home, can always go nuts. They're projected for 5 runs, but I respect what Urban's done enough that I prefer just the one-off power bat. So I love Schwarber individually. Lefty power bat, hitting cleanup, can hit 2 bombs, and maybe the rest of the team doesn't do much. So, I mean, I think they're like number 7 or 8 overall for me. They're pretty far down the board, but it's viable, yes.
Okay. Tim, is a Ranges stack worth a shot on FanDuel?
I have no issue with that at all.
Bootleg Head Shopper says, is the Cubs stack going to be a bust tonight?
Cardinals fan always hopes the Cubs stack is a bust.
Yeah. I hope not, and I don't think so, but who knows?
Let's see, Tim. This is from Jorge Mateo. It's a DK Cash question 2v2. Simeon Vientos or Caminero and Reyes? P. Reyes, in case there are multiple Reyeses.
The first one.
Shout out to Power, who has given me these different terms for money so that I don't have to use clams again. He's got ducats, Skrilla, loot, paperbacks, booty, coin, currency. They got a little weak towards the end, but ducats, I'm using. I need to make a mental note. I'm trying to use ducats tomorrow. Cards. Rank your top 4 in a Yankee stack, Cards.
I mean, I don't think you can have a Yankee stack that feels great without Judge. So, but Goldie, I did write up as my favorite. So Goldschmidt would be number 1. Judge would be number 2. Volpe would be number 3. And I can probably be swayed a number of different ways on the 4th one. Probably Grisham due to salary that you can get him pretty cheap.
Okay. Cards right back to you from the Grinch in the RotoGrinders Discord where the cool kids hang out. DK GPP, Volpe and Devers or Gunner and Yandy. If I go the first one, Volpe Devers, it completes a 5-man with the Volpe there.
Not super. I mean, it would depend on who the 5-man is. I presume that would be a 5-man of the Yankees.
It would be, yeah.
I do kind of prefer that one.
Okay, very good. Laureano, Tim, Laureano or Jock? Joseph asks. He did not say what site. He did not say anything.
Ooh. I'm assuming DraftKings, but I will side with Laureano, but it's super close between the two.
Okay. Jimmy Jam says, is the weather in Cincy good to go? Yeah, there's a chance of a delay, more likely late than more likely nothing, but if it happens, probably late, but probably nothing at all. So, yes. Brian says, oops, my bad. This is the question about Stott and Turner and all that. It was not Scott. It was Stott. So
I kind of figured that, but I would still play Turner over Stott.
Yeah, okay. You're good like that. Let's see what else we've got. Mm-hmm. Cards, TJ says, Cards is like your grumpy uncle. He doesn't like change and has had enough of everyone's shenanigans.
What did I do?
I think it's that you are a purist in baseball. I think maybe that's throwing.
Oh, we're going back to the beginning of the show because I don't want a guy on second base.
Some people watch on delay, so perhaps
that's fine. Fine. Yeah, I mean, you can watch me at 2x speed, then I don't sound so grumpy. Yeah. If you speed me up to 2x, I sound like I'm on the good stuff. But
producer Steve says you're the best. You are not a grumpy uncle.
But I am like. So I think part of being like a more passionate baseball fan is like I am more of the baseball purist guy. Though I do agree that the pitch clock has been good. I actually watched. Well, do we have other questions? I saved that for 2 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. You know, we got only 2 minutes until lock. So I do want to hear your take on the pitch clock in a second. DK Cash question cards, Contreras Devers or Rutschdog and Noelvig. We did that one.
We did that one.
Yeah. I don't remember what the answer was.
I believe it was the first one.
The first one.
Yeah. All right. Greenbacks. I'm getting more words for guap. Greenbacks. This is good. I need you guys as I'm doing my read next time. Chicken or beef ramen noodles, Tim?
Chicken.
Chicken for ramen. Yeah, that's the right choice. Better stacks, Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, Phils. I think the Yankees are of that group. Or
I think, yeah, Yankees are the top.
Yeah. Joseph says, Tim, Laureano Holiday or Simeon Jock?
I think that Simeon Jock one is going to be significantly higher owned. So I'd go with the Orioles and GPPs.
Yeah. Okay. Stevie asking what we're getting Cheese. If we're giving Cheese his birthday gift tomorrow, it's got to be ice cream. Stevie recommends weather themed ice cream. Yeah, we need to figure that out. Happy birthday to Cheese, by the way. He's a good dude. Last man in FanDuel single entry cards, Hap or PSA one off.
I think that's supposed to be PCA for
PCA
Armstrong.
Thank you.
But Hap for me.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. We hit the lock. Good job. Scrolling down. Yeah, we did good. Now, Cards, I would like your pitch clock thoughts.
Yeah, so I watched an overlaid video on YouTube, and I can't remember where I found it. I'd give it credit, but I can't remember who posted it. It just showed up in my feed. But there was a side-by-side video of a half inning from a game in recent weeks, and the other one was a Cardinals-Reds game from the 1980s, where the Reds had a starter that was making his major league debut, and Vince Coleman got on base. Now, Vince Coleman was this big stolen base guy for the Cardinals back in the 80s. He threw to first. The pitcher threw to first 17 times. And now you can't do that, right? You get a max of 3 or it's a balk. And so the side-by-side was the 17 pickoff throws to first base in real time, the actual broadcast and the half inning of whatever the Yankees game was. And the half inning literally was played in the midst of the pickoff throws. And then Coleman stole second anyways on the pitch after the 17 pickoff throws. And I mean, if we went back to the old clock rules, you know, the game would be mind-numbingly slow now with how we've gotten used to it. So I'm not against all change. I think the pitch clock is great. I think the automated ball strike challenge thing that worked fine in spring training. It's ludicrous they can't use it now. I think that change is fine. I just don't like the guy on second base in extra innings. And if you want to hang me for that, then you can hang me for it.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
No, that all makes sense. We're on board with that. Hey, we're going to clear it out of here. We've hit the lock and surpassed it. So we're going to bounce on out for Tim, for Cards, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been